Ancient echoes of Kievan Rus's stone cathedrals stand in contrast with a rapidly transforming Ukraine, where history meets modern ambition in unexpected ways. From the silent ruins of Chernobyl and Pripyat to Kyiv's golden domes and Derzhprom's industrial geometry, past and future exist side by side. Across the land, Akkerman Fortress rises above the Black Sea, while the Carpathian Mountains, Crimean peaks, and Basalt Columns shape a world forged by time and geology. Natural wonders like pink Lake of Kherson, Lake Synevyr, and the flowing Dnipro River add surreal color, water, and life to this vast territory. Change here unfolds at astonishing speed, reshaping cities, nature, and human life itself, revealing how civilization and landscape continuously redefine each other. Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. Like a forgotten kingdom reclaimed by the forest, the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone is where humanity left, but nature stayed behind. After the nuclear disaster of April 26, 1986, this land fell into a long silence, breathing through invisible radiation and slowly awakening once again. Located about 100 kilometers north of Kyiv in Ukraine, near the Belarus border, Chernobyl remains the world's most famous abandoned radioactive region. Unlike mountains, rivers, or deserts, this landscape was created by a failed reactor test that triggered one of history's worst nuclear accidents. Today, the exclusion zone covers nearly 4,800 square kilometers, larger than some countries, with radiation still lingering in dangerous hotspots. Invisible alpha, beta, and gamma radiation make permanent human life impossible in many areas, even decades later. Yet wildlife has returned in remarkable numbers. Wolves, lynx, deer, wild boar, brown bears, and Przewalski's horses now roam freely through recovering forest. Each season transforms the landscape. Spring brings flowers, summer hides ruins beneath greenery, autumn paints the forest's gold, and winter blankets everything in snow. Wind moves through empty buildings, while birds and distant wolves provide the only sounds across the abandoned land. Chernobyl is both a warning and a wonder. It reminds us that when people disappear, nature endures, heals, and quietly writes a new story of survival. Carpathian Mountains. Long before cities rose and empires fell, these mountains were already standing watch over the heart of Eastern Europe. The Carpathian Mountains breathe through ancient forests, rest beneath deep winter snow, and awaken each spring with rushing streams and wildflowers. Stretching across western Ukraine and several neighboring countries, the Carpathian Mountains form the second largest mountain range in Europe after the Alps. Born more than 50 million years ago, through the collision of tectonic plates, they were shaped into rolling peaks, deep valleys, and vast wilderness. Their highest summit in Ukraine is Hoverla, reaching 2,061 meters above sea level and overlooking one of Europe's last great primeval forests. Some ancient beech trees here are centuries old, surviving through generations, while harsh winters bring heavy snow, dense fog, and temperatures below -20 degrees Celsius. Despite the challenges, European bison, brown bears, wolves, lynx deer, golden eagles, and great owls continue to thrive in this rugged landscape. Spring fills the valleys with color. Summer blankets the mountains in emerald green, autumn creates a sea of gold, and winter transforms the region into a white wonderland. With every whisper of wind through the trees and every distant animal call, the Carpathian Mountains remind us that nature's endurance is far greater than any mark humanity leaves behind. Tunnel of Love. A ribbon of emerald green curves through the forest, as if painted by nature itself, leading travelers into a world that feels more like a fairy tale than reality. Known as the Tunnel of Love, this enchanting passage lies near Kyiv in the Riven region of western Ukraine. What appears to be a magical forest corridor is actually a railway line surrounded by a living arch of trees stretching for several kilometers. Its story began during the Soviet era, when rail tracks were built for industrial transport and vegetation was planted along the route. Over decades passing, trains naturally shaped the branches into a near-perfect green tunnel, creating a masterpiece neither engineers nor nature could have achieved alone. The leafy canopy rises high above the tracks, forming a continuous corridor that feels endless as sunlight filters through countless shades of green. Balancing tourism with preservation remains an ongoing challenge, as thousands of visitors arrive each year while the delicate ecosystem continues to grow and change. By day, the tunnel glows with soft, natural light, offering a peaceful escape where couples stroll hand in hand and photographers capture its dreamlike beauty. When evening arrives, moonlight slips through the leaves and transforms the passage into a magical corridor of shadows and silver light. The Tunnel of Love stands as a timeless reminder that patience, nature, and a little imagination can create wonders beyond anything we plan ourselves. Crimea. Floating between sea mountains and centuries of history, Crimea rises from the Black Sea like a world of its own. Located on the northern coast of the Black Sea, this peninsula has long stood at the crossroads of civilizations, cultures, and trade routes connecting Europe and Asia. Covering roughly 27,000 square kilometers, Crimea contains an extraordinary variety of landscapes, from open steppes and rugged mountains to dramatic coastlines and hidden caves. Its highest peak, Ruman Kosh, overlooks a region shaped by nature and thousands of years of human history. Ancient Greeks, Romans, Crimean Tatars, Russians, and Ukrainians all left their mark here, creating a rich cultural legacy visible in fortresses, palaces, and historic settlements. Among its modern landmarks is the Crimea Bridge, one of Europe's longest bridges, stretching across the Kerch Strait and linking the peninsula to the Russian mainland. The region faces constant challenges from coastal storms, seismic activity, and a landscape that shifts from dry plains to forested mountains within a relatively short distance. By day, turquoise waters meet towering cliffs, pine-covered slopes, elegant palaces, and seaside towns that have attracted travelers for generations. As darkness settles over the coast, city lights shimmer across the Black Sea, while illuminated cliffs and historic buildings create a scene of remarkable beauty. Crimea remains a place where nature, culture, and history meet, reminding visitors that landscapes can endure even as the world around them continues to change. Lake Synevyr. Hidden among the forests of the Carpathian Mountains, Lake Synevyr shines like a sapphire set deep within the heart of the wilderness. Surrounded by ancient pine and beech forests, this mountain lake rests nearly 1,000 meters above sea level in western Ukraine's Zakarpattia region. Known as the largest and deepest mountain lake in the Ukrainian Carpathians, Lake Synevyr has long been treasured as one of the country's natural wonders. Its story began around 10,000 years ago, when a massive landslide blocked a mountain stream and created a natural basin that slowly filled with crystal clear water. At the center of the lake sits a tiny island giving the water its famous appearance as a giant blue eye watching over the surrounding mountains. Despite its beauty, the environment remains challenging. Even in summer, the water rarely warms beyond 13 degrees Celsius, while fog, steep trails, and sudden weather changes are common. The lake supports a delicate ecosystem where trout, freshwater creatures, migratory birds, and forest wildlife depend on the purity of the mountain environment. Spring brings rushing snowmelt. Summer turns the surface into a mirror of emerald forests. Autumn surrounds the shoreline with gold and crimson leaves, and winter covers the landscape in silence. As gentle waves touch the shore and wind moves through the trees, Lake Synevyr feels timeless. It reminds us that some of Earth's greatest treasures are not built by human hands, but shaped patiently by nature across thousands of years. Kyiv, Ukraine, a city of golden domes and enduring spirit, rises above the waters of the Dnipro River, carrying more than 1,000 years of history into the modern age. Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, stands at the heart of the nation, stretching across rolling hills and both banks of the mighty Dnipro. For centuries, this city has served as a crossroads between East and West, where merchants, travelers, rulers, and cultures helped shape one of Europe's most influential historic centers. Covering more than 800 square kilometers, Kyiv blends grand boulevards, ancient monasteries, green parks, and vibrant neighborhoods into a landscape both historic and alive. Its skyline is defined by shimmering golden domes, many inspired by Byzantine and Ukrainian Baroque architecture, reflecting sunlight across the city's hills. Beneath the streets lies one of Europe's deepest metro systems, while above ground, UNESCO-listed landmarks preserve the legacy of generations past. Throughout its long history, Kyiv has endured invasions, wars, destruction, and reconstruction, yet it has repeatedly risen stronger than before. During the day, visitors encounter bustling squares, historic churches, riverside views, and lively streets where the past and present exist side by side. As night falls, illuminated domes glow above the city, while reflections dance across the Dnipro. Kyiv remains more than a capital city. It is a symbol of resilience, memory, and the enduring spirit of Ukraine. St. Sophia Cathedral, Ukraine. Rising above the historic skyline of Kyiv, St. Sophia Cathedral stands like a timeless beacon of faith, wisdom, and human achievement. For nearly 1,000 years, this remarkable monument has watched over the city, preserving the spiritual and cultural legacy of medieval Eastern Europe. Located in the heart of Kyiv, the cathedral was commissioned by Yaroslav the Wise in the 11th century during the Golden Age of Kievan Rus. At the time of its construction, it was among the largest and most impressive religious buildings in the region, crowned with 13 domes that symbolized heavenly harmony. Inside, visitors discover one of the world's finest collections of medieval mosaics and frescoes, including thousands of square meters of artwork that have survived for centuries. Built with Byzantine craftsmanship and later enhanced with Ukrainian Baroque elements, the cathedral reflects the meeting of cultures, traditions, and artistic visions across generations. Its survival is nothing short of extraordinary. Through invasions, wars, political upheavals, and repeated threats of destruction, St. Sophia Cathedral has endured when many other treasures were lost. During the day, sunlight filters through ancient windows and illuminates golden mosaics, creating an atmosphere of quiet wonder and reflection. As evening settles over Kyiv, the cathedral's domes glow against the night sky, reminding visitors of a heritage that continues to inspire. St. Sophia Cathedral remains a living symbol of Ukraine's cultural resilience, proving that great civilizations can leave echoes that endure for 1,000 years and beyond. Kyiv, Peshchersk, Lavra, Ukraine. Beneath the hills overlooking the Dnipro River lies a sacred world where faith, history, and silence have endured for nearly 1,000 years. Kyiv, Peshchersk, Lavra, known as the Monastery of the Caves, is one of the most important spiritual landmarks in Eastern Europe and a treasured symbol of Ukraine's religious heritage. Founded in 1051 by St. Anthony, the monastery began as a small network of underground caves carved by hand into soft clay hillsides. Over the centuries, it expanded into a vast complex of churches, bell towers, monasteries, and underground passages that attract pilgrims and visitors from around the world. Hidden beneath the surface are more than 600 meters of narrow tunnels where generations of monks lived, prayed, and devoted their lives to spiritual reflection. The cave system is especially famous for preserving the naturally mummified remains of more than 100 revered saints, making it one of the most remarkable religious sites of its kind. Above ground, golden domes rise over the skyline of Kyiv, showcasing the beauty of Ukrainian Baroque architecture and centuries of artistic achievement. During the day, sunlight glitters across the monastery's towers, while visitors explore quiet courtyards, ancient churches, and sacred underground chambers. As night falls, warm lights illuminate the domes above, while the caves remain wrapped in timeless darkness below. Kyiv-Pechursk Lavra stands as a powerful reminder that faith, perseverance, and human devotion can leave a legacy that endures far beyond a single lifetime. Motherland Monument, Ukraine. Towering above the skyline of Kyiv, a colossal steel figure rises against the horizon, watching over the city with unwavering strength and determination. The Motherland Monument stands on the high banks of the Dnipro River as one of Ukraine's most recognizable landmarks and a powerful symbol of resilience. Completed in 1981, the monument was created as part of the National Museum of the History of Ukraine in the Second World War, honoring sacrifice, courage, and remembrance. Reaching a total height of 102 meters, it ranks among the tallest statues in Europe and dominates the surrounding landscape from nearly every direction. Forged from hundreds of tons of stainless steel, the monument was an extraordinary engineering achievement designed to withstand powerful winds and the passage of time. In one hand, the towering figure raises a sword toward the sky, while the other holds a massive shield, creating an image of vigilance and protection. Visitors can ascend observation platforms within the structure, gaining breathtaking views across Kyiv, the Dnipro River, and the city's historic landmarks. During the day, sunlight reflects from the steel surface, making the monument appear almost alive above the rolling hills and riverbanks below. As darkness settles over the capital, powerful lights illuminate the statue, transforming it into a glowing guardian overlooking the city. The Motherland Monument remains a striking reminder that strength is not only measured by power, but also by the determination to endure through every challenge and every generation. Lviv, Ukraine, where cobblestone streets wind between centuries-old buildings and church bells echo across colorful rooftops. Lviv feels like a living storybook from the heart of Europe. Located in western Ukraine near the Polish border, Lviv has long been a crossroads of cultures, ideas, and traditions that shaped the history of the region. Founded in the 13th century, the city grew under the influence of Ukrainian Polish, Austrian Armenian, and Jewish communities, creating a cultural blend unlike anywhere else in the country. Its historic center, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, preserves more than 2,000 architectural landmarks spanning Gothic, Renaissance, Baroque, and Art Nouveau styles. Every square courtyard and cathedral reveals another chapter of the city's remarkable past, turning an ordinary walk into a journey through time. Despite wars, political changes, and centuries of upheaval, Lviv has carefully protected its unique character while continuing to evolve as a vibrant cultural capital. The city is often called the City of Churches, with countless spires, domes, and sacred buildings rising above the skyline. During the day, visitors explore lively cafes, hidden courtyards, bustling markets, and the famous Rynok Square, surrounded by elegant, historic facades. As evening arrives, warm golden lights illuminate the old streets and architectural treasures, creating an atmosphere of romance and timeless charm. Lviv stands as a celebration of culture, resilience, and beauty, proving that history is most powerful when it remains alive in everyday life. Palanok Castle, Ukraine. Perched atop an ancient volcanic hill, Palanok Castle rises above the surrounding valley like a stone guardian, watching over centuries of history. Located in the city of Mukachevo in southwestern Ukraine, this formidable fortress is one of the best preserved medieval castles in Eastern Europe. Its origins stretch back nearly 1,000 years, with generations of rulers expanding and strengthening the stronghold into a complex, defensive masterpiece. Built from volcanic stone and protected by multiple walls, towers, and fortified courtyards, the castle was designed to withstand some of the most powerful armies of its time. The fortress is divided into three main sections: the High Castle, Middle Castle, and Low Castle, each positioned to maximize defense and control over the surrounding landscape. Throughout its history, Palanok Castle survived countless sieges, invasions, and political struggles, becoming a symbol of determination and resistance. One of its most famous chapters centers on Ilona Zriny, who led a heroic defense against a vastly larger Habsburg force and held the fortress for nearly 3 years. Today, visitors can wander through ancient halls, climb historic towers, and enjoy sweeping panoramic views across the Zakarpattia region. As evening falls, golden lights illuminate the stone walls and battlements, transforming the fortress into a scene worthy of a medieval legend. From its volcanic throne, Palanok Castle still watches over the land it once defended. Kamyanets-Podilsky, Ukraine. Encircled by a dramatic canyon, carved by the Smotrik River, Kamyanets-Podilsky appears like a forgotten kingdom lifted straight from the pages of a medieval fairy tale. Located in southwestern Ukraine, this remarkable city occupies a natural limestone island almost completely surrounded by steep cliffs and winding water. For centuries, its strategic position made it one of the most important defensive strongholds in Eastern Europe, guarding vital trade routes between kingdoms and empires. At the heart of the city stands the legendary Akkerman Fortress, a complex of towers, walls, and gates that blends seamlessly into the rugged landscape around it. Built and expanded over hundreds of years, the fortress survived invasions, sieges, and changing rulers, including Lithuanian, Polish, Ottoman, and Ukrainian periods. The city's unique design combines human engineering with natural geography, creating one of the most impressive fortified urban landscapes on the continent. Today, visitors wander through cobblestone streets, lined with historic churches, colorful buildings, and architectural treasures reflecting many different cultures. By day, red rooftops rise above green canyon walls, while panoramic viewpoints reveal the breathtaking harmony between nature and history. As night falls, warm lights illuminate the fortress and ancient streets, casting a magical glow across the canyon below. Kamyanets-Podilsky is a place where stone, water, and time have come together to create one of Ukraine's most enchanting historic landscapes. Dnipro Canyon, Ukraine. Carved by the relentless flow of the Dnipro River, this vast canyon stretches across western Ukraine like a giant geological masterpiece shaped over millions of years. Dnipro Canyon is considered one of the longest and most spectacular river canyons in Europe, revealing layers of Earth's history within its towering cliffs. For hundreds of kilometers, the river winds through limestone walls, ancient rock formations, hidden caves, and dramatic bends that create breathtaking landscapes at every turn. Some of the exposed rocks date back hundreds of millions of years, making the canyon not only a natural wonder, but also an open-air record of the planet's distant past. The steep terrain and remote location have helped preserve rich ecosystems where forests, grasslands, and riverside habitats support a remarkable variety of wildlife. Golden eagles soar above the cliffs, while fish navigate the winding waters below, each species adapting to a landscape constantly shaped by nature. Throughout the seasons, the canyon transforms dramatically. Spring mists drift above the river, summer sunlight illuminates the pale cliffs, and autumn paints the valley in brilliant shades of gold and crimson. Visitors often describe the experience as stepping into a forgotten world where silence is broken only by flowing water, distant birds, and the whisper of wind through the rocks. As evening settles across the canyon, long shadows stretch over the river and ancient cliffs. Dnipro Canyon reminds us that nature's greatest masterpieces are not built in a lifetime, but sculpted patiently across the ages. Odessa, Ukraine, where the endless steppe dissolves into the vast horizon of the Black Sea, Odessa rises as a living bridge between land and ocean, shaped by salt wind, shifting tides, and centuries of maritime history. Founded in the late 18th century on limestone-rich coastal terrain, the city quickly developed into one of the most strategic ports of the Black Sea region. Its coastline stretches for dozens of kilometers, forming a natural boundary between Ukraine's open plains and the deep Blue Sea. Over time, storms, erosion, and strong seasonal winds have constantly reshaped this fragile shoreline. The surrounding waters support diverse marine life, including migratory birds, fish species of the Black Sea, and coastal ecosystems adapted to changing conditions. In summer, the sea becomes calm and reflective, while winter transforms it into a dramatic stage of waves and storms. The sound of gulls, distant ships, and crashing waves creates a constant rhythm across the coastline. At night, harbor lights ripple across the water, forming glowing patterns beneath the dark sky. Odessa is more than a port city. It is a meeting point of culture, nature, and human endurance along the edge of the sea. Black Sea, where Europe and Asia converge at the edge of vast inland waters, the Black Sea breathes like a sleeping giant, shaping the history of civilizations. The Black Sea originated as an ancient freshwater lake that was later flooded by Mediterranean waters through the Bosphorus nearly 8,000 years ago. Covering over 430,000 square kilometers, it is the largest inland sea in Europe, with depths exceeding 2,000 meters. Its northern and northwestern shores stretch along Ukraine, forming more than 2,700 kilometers of coastline, shaped by major river systems. Below a depth of about 150 meters, the water becomes anoxic and filled with hydrogen sulfide, creating a vast, lifeless deep zone. Despite harsh conditions, surface waters host rich ecosystems, including anchovy sturgeon and 3 unique species of dolphins adapted to shifting salinity levels. Seasons transform the sea dramatically, from calm turquoise summers to violent winter storms, that reshape waves, colors, and coastal landscapes across Ukraine. The sound of waves, seabirds, and distant winds creates a vast natural symphony, evoking both freedom and solitude along endless horizons now. More than sea, it is living archive of Earth's history, preserving ancient secrets beneath oxygen-free depths. Synevyr, Crimea, Ukraine. On the southern edge of Crimea, Synevyr appears like a quiet miracle carved between towering cliffs and the endless blue of the Black Sea. Far from being just a seaside town, it is a compact world where mountains, sea, and architecture collide in a dramatic natural theater. Once a modest fishing settlement, Synevyr gradually evolved into one of the most scenic coastal retreats in the region, positioned beneath the rugged slopes of the Pripyat mountain range near Yalta. Though it spans only a few square kilometers, the landscape feels far larger, defined by steep limestone cliffs, hidden coves and narrow beaches pressed between rock and water. Distinctive landmarks like Cat Mountain and Diva Rock rise above the shoreline, their strange and striking shapes carved slowly by wind, rain, and geological time. The terrain is steep and unstable, forcing generations of builders to adapt carefully to the natural contours of the land. Across different eras, Synevyr absorbed layers of cultural influence from ancient Greek and Tatar presence to its transformation under the Russian Empire into an elegant resort destination. Graceful villas in neoclassical and Art Nouveau styles were constructed along the hillsides, positioned to capture uninterrupted views of the sea, while blending into pine-covered slopes. By day, the town glows under clear Mediterranean-like light, revealing calm waters, historic villas, and a peaceful rhythm along the coastal promenade. When night falls, warm golden lights from homes and seaside buildings reflect across the dark surface of the Black Sea, turning Synevyr into a quiet, cinematic dream suspended between sea and sky. Chernobyl Fortress, Sudak, Crimea, Ukraine. Crowned on a rocky hill above the Black Sea coast, the Genoese fortress of Sudak emerges like a silent guardian carved from stone and centuries of conflict. Spanning nearly 28 hectares, its long defensive walls stretch across the ridge, reinforced by 18 to 22 towers rising above the cliffs overlooking the sea. Built between 1371 and 1469 by Genoese merchants, the fortress reflects a strategic blend of military engineering and medieval trade ambition in the Black Sea region. Thick limestone walls, fortified gates, and layered defense systems reveal a design meant to withstand invasions from Byzantines, Tatars, and later Ottoman forces. The entire complex rises dramatically on a 150-meter hill, turning the fortress into a natural stronghold, dominating land and sea routes. From its highest points, sweeping views open across Sudak Bay, where mountains and water meet in a vast cinematic horizon. At night, warm illumination transforms the ancient stone into a glowing silhouette, as if the fortress is still watching over passing centuries. It stands today as one of the best preserved Genoese strongholds in Eastern Europe, preserved through centuries of war trade and shifting empires. Wind from the Black Sea continues to carve its presence into the stone, reminding visitors of the harsh coastal forces that shaped its survival. Every tower and wall tells a fragment of history where architecture and landscape merge into one continuous story of resilience and human ambition. Zaharalhach Island, Kherson Oblast, Ukraine. Like a forgotten ribbon of white sand, gently laid across the Black Sea, Zaharalhach Island stretches quietly between windwater and endless horizon, untouched and almost unreal in its silence. Located in Kherson Oblast within Kharkiv Bay, it is the largest sand island in the Black Sea and the biggest uninhabited island in Ukraine, shaped entirely by the slow dialogue between sea currents, wind, and time. Formed over thousands of years through continuous sediment deposition, the island evolved into a long, narrow landmass where more than 200 saltwater lagoons scatter like hidden mirrors across its surface. Its structure is fragile yet vast, extending about 42 kilometers in length, with shifting dunes and shallow waters that constantly reshape its outline. Despite its beauty, the island is harsh and isolated, with hot, dry summers, limited fresh water, and exposure to sudden Black Sea storms that reshape the coastline without warning. This isolation has allowed a rare ecosystem to thrive, where wild steppe grasses, coastal wetlands, and sandy forests support deer, wild boar mouflon, and countless migratory birds. The island becomes especially alive during migration seasons, when hundreds of thousands of birds pause here, turning the sky into a moving cloud of wings. In its quiet spaces, bottlenose dolphins and other Black Sea species often appear near the shores, reinforcing the connection between land, sea, and life cycles. Across seasons, Zaharalhach transforms continuously, from sunlit summer sands to autumn skies filled with migration paths, like a living organism breathing with the Black Sea. Chernivtsi National University. Emerging from Bukovina, like a living fairy tale carved for knowledge, Chernivtsi National University stands as a timeless architectural masterpiece of Ukraine. Located in western Ukraine, it forms a grand academic complex that blends history, culture, and European heritage within a single extraordinary space. Designed by Joseph Lavka, it combines Byzantine Gothic and Baroque architecture into a unified historicist vision of the 19th century. The campus spans over 110,000 square meters with 17 buildings, creating a complete university city within Chernivtsi. Its terracotta bricks, carved stone details, and ornate roofs reflect exceptional craftsmanship and artistic precision from skilled artisans. Built between 1864 and 1882 under the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the project required nearly 2 decades of disciplined architectural effort. Thousands of artisans contributed, supported by dedicated factories, producing bricks, tiles, and decorative elements for the entire complex. Today, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is often called the real-life Hogwarts of Eastern Europe. By day, the courtyards feel like a living film set, while at night, golden lights transform the campus into cinematic elegance. Chernivtsi National University remains a symbol of knowledge, culture, and imagination, proving that education is humanity's most enduring form of magic. Dnipro River, Ukraine. Dnipro River, Ukraine flows like a silver giant across the heart of Eastern Europe, shaping landscapes and civilizations along its endless path. It stretches for 2,201 kilometers, beginning in Russia and Belarus before crossing nearly all of Ukraine toward the Black Sea. Formed through ancient post-glacial erosion and long-term geological transformation, it has existed for tens of thousands of years. Its vast basin covers more than 504,000 square kilometers, supporting forests, wetlands, and millions of people across the region. The river is defined by extreme seasonal change, from frozen silence in winter to powerful spring floods that reshape its banks. It serves as one of Europe's most important ecological corridors, allowing wildlife and bird migration across continents. Along its course, ecosystems shift constantly, from lush summer greenery to golden autumn reflections and icy winter stillness. The Dnipro has witnessed the rise of ancient tribes, medieval kingdoms, and the development of modern Ukraine throughout history. Today it stands as a symbol of resilience and continuity, connecting past and present through an unbroken natural flow. The Dnipro is not only a river, but a living artery of memory, life, and time flowing endlessly through Europe.